September 11, 1857, America's first 911. Most Americans associate September 11th with events from our own lifetime, but long before modern terrorism, another September 11th marked one of the darkest and most sobering tragedies in U.S. history, one that remains largely unknown and deeply uncomfortable. On September 11th, 1857, over 120 men, women, and children traveling west in the Fancher-Baker wagon train were brutally murdered in southern Utah in what is now known as the Mountain Meadows Massacre. It was an act of extraordinary violence, Americans killing Americans, carried out under religious authority, deception, and fear. Former Mormon and historian Rocky Hulse describes it this way.
This initial act of terrorism by Americans against Americans stands in a class all its own for sheer brutality, deceitfulness, and human depravity.
At the time, Brigham Young was not only the president of the LDS Church, but also the territorial governor of Utah, ruling the region as a theocracy. Utah was under intense pressure from the U.S. government due to polygamy and defiance of federal authority. President James Buchanan had dispatched troops to reassert control, creating what historians now call the Utah War. Into this tense environment came the Fancher-Baker train from Arkansas. False rumors circulated that members of the group were connected to the murders of Mormon leaders, including Apostle Parley P. Pratt, and even to those involved in Joseph Smith's death. These rumors were untrue, but they proved deadly. Historical records and later LDS admissions confirm that local Mormon leaders and militia members were directly involved. Paiute Indians were initially paid to harass the settlers. A false flag truce was used to disarm the wagon train. Mormon militia then completed the massacre. Only children under the age of 7 were spared. Brigham Young later visited the site and is recorded as saying,
"Vengeance is mine and I have taken a little."
While the LDS Church initially denied involvement, it later acknowledged responsibility, though the event remains largely absent from official teaching. Key leaders such as Isaac C. Haight, William Dame, and John D. Lee, who was later executed, acted within the existing Mormon militia structure, which ultimately answered to Brigham Young. The surviving children were taken, property was seized, and families were later charged money to retrieve their own children, many of whom were found malnourished, sick, and neglected. Captain James Lynch described them as,
"In a most wretched condition, half-starved, half-naked, filthy, infested with vermin."
This is a painful story. It brought tears to our eyes as we revisited it, but it is one that must not be forgotten, because it stands as a sober warning about what happens when religious authority claims divine sanction beyond accountability.